And I was really worried at this point, even though my gut was like, you need to get out of this area. So his friend comes around to the other window. This is going to be part one of probably a two-part series where I tell you guys all about my creepy, scary stories of altercations I've had on the road. You're going to notice a theme. And so I really want to make it clear that I do not hate men. I do not blame all men. Men do have their own experiences and altercations with men as well as women. There are many not well women in the world. But you will notice a very clear theme in terms of demographic. It is not all men in that demographic, but there are certainly a lot. I couldn't tell you why. All I can do is speculate. I'm sure you have your own speculations. But I have never had a negative altercation like this, other than the whole Bev situation. I've never had a negative altercation with a woman or a younger man. I don't know why, again, but I just want to make it clear that please don't think that this is targeted at you or any kind of a blanket statement saying that all men are like this, or that I don't have the ability to recognize that men deal with their own struggles. Because you do. I know you do. I know it's not all of you, and I know that there are some really good men in the world. So bear with me through this. Please keep that in mind while you're watching this. Thank you. Today I wanted to try something a little bit different. Inspired by events that have been happening over the past several weeks, I'm going to tell you about all these scary altercations that I can remember that have happened to me since I got in the van. I'm going to start with what happened in Burnaby before I left for White Rock, because that was a pretty intense day. I have a lot of footage from different incidents that have happened over the past year, which is only really maybe half or less of the incidents that I've experienced. I just didn't catch them all on film. But what happened in Burnaby was outrageous. In the span of maybe 48 hours, I was harassed multiple times. Unfortunately, I only have one of those times kind of on film, but I'm going to tell you what happened for the rest of them. The first thing that happened was there was this old man that was hanging around the Tim Hortons. I used to see him come in and kind of be weird with people on the inside. He would walk around the Tim Hortons with his arms out and try to hug people or fake like he was going to hug people. It was really weird. And on another day, I saw him outside in the parking lot, and you would see people coming from their cars, especially young women. Young women trying to go to the Tim Hortons, and he would just do this thing and get in front of them and try to like kind of thing where he would like pretend he was gonna hug them, almost as if he was trying to see who would hug him. And he was so creepy that nobody ever did. And you know, you want to feel bad for people like that, but if you're lonely, you don't get to push yourself on other people, especially when you're an older man and doing that to younger women. That's so extremely inappropriate. So what happened in my experience with him, so after I've seen this guy around and I'm acknowledging that there's something wrong with him, maybe a few days later, I'm going to the grocery store, and as I'm walking in, so I know who he is. He doesn't know who I am, because, well, he may actually, that might not be true. But I go into the grocery store, and he's coming out of the grocery store, sees me, and says something about, he does the whole thing, and he says something about, oh, we can't hug or something like that. And I'm like, dude, I wouldn't touch you with a 40-foot pole. And I know that sounds rude, but it's not rude, because the guy's a creep who's accosting young women in front of a Tim Hortons trying to go for a coffee. So I don't feel bad about it. I am at the point right now where I am not really worried about men's feelings. And I think by the end of this video, you're going to understand why that is. So I said that, and I kept walking. When I come out of the grocery store, maybe 10 minutes later, he's still in front of the grocery store in his car. He had been waiting for me in his car, and as I'm walking out, he starts honking his horn at me. Beep, 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 beep. I'm like, what the heck is that? And I just kept walking to my van, but at this point, I'm extremely creeped out. So that whole thing happened, and then the next day, I believe it was, I was sitting at the Tim Hortons. It was either the next day or like 2 days after that. Everything happened within the same about 48 hours. I'm sitting at the Tim Hortons doing my work, which turned into a place where I was chronically accosted at this point. I'm sitting there and he's standing there waiting for a coffee, and of course he comes up to my table and stands in front of my table waiting for me to pay attention to him. And I can feel him, his presence there. So I'm like, part of me just feels the urge to look up, right? And I knew he was doing it on purpose, but either way, I ended up looking up, and he says, "You're very organized." And I'm just like, this guy really doesn't remember that yesterday or whatever it was, he was honking his horn at me in a grocery store because I was what you want to consider impolite to me. He was impolite to me. He was impolite to me, whether or not I was impolite to him. It's not polite to go like this to women in a grocery store, okay? It's not polite to try to impose yourself physically onto them. So anyways, he's like, you're very organized. And I didn't say anything because I'm like, this guy is an ass. This guy literally waited for me outside of a grocery store just so he could honk his horn at me because I didn't give him the reaction that he wanted. And now he's standing a foot away from me at my table in the Tim Hortons trying to start a conversation with me. And here's the thing, I'm very clearly working. I'm very clearly busy. But this is a thing that is a common theme you're going to see throughout this, is that these men do not care about what I'm doing. They do not care if I am busy. They have no respect for me. They have no respect for women. So it doesn't occur to him, oh, she might be busy, maybe I'll leave her alone. He's trying to engage me in a conversation that I clearly don't want to be a part of. And so I didn't say anything. I just looked back down and continued working. So he gets all upset about it and he storms off to the other side of the restaurant and he sits down. And another younger man who probably thought I was being just a rude, horrible person said something to make him feel better. And I'm like, so I had to give him the backstory. I'm like, I understand that you think that I'm being rude, but you don't understand that this is the way he acts. He wants attention from people. He imposes himself. And just yesterday, I didn't give him the reaction that he wanted, so he waited for me and started honking his horn outside a grocery store. There's something wrong with this guy, and I don't owe him anything. I do not owe it to him to be nice. And this is a common theme that I've realized in society, and it's within me and us, this guilt for, oh, I was rude, I was mean to him. But here's the thing. It's like women are responsible for men's feelings, especially these older men. Sorry if it seems like I'm generalizing to all the dudes who are watching this. Just wait for it. But we are made to feel responsible for their feelings, and they don't owe us anything. So we might feel uncomfortable, unsafe, creeped out, disrespected, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what we feel, as long as the old man that's creeping on us doesn't feel sad. As long as we're nice to him, because his feelings, don't hurt his feelings, because his feelings matter more than my feelings. His feelings matter more than the little girls who walk into the Tim Hortons and get accosted every time they try to go for a coffee and he's there. Okay? So this is going to be a theme. As you can see, I'm a little heated in this one. And it's just like, this is a growth process for me, honestly, because when I first got into the van, no one bothered me, first of all. No one bothered me because it was winter and nobody was outside and my windows were closed. But as soon as it turned into spring and then summer, it got worse and worse and worse. Okay, so that was the first incident in Burnaby. Another time when I'm sitting at that exact table in that same Tim Hortons, a man is standing in front of me in line for his coffee. I was near the coffee thing, okay? So he's standing waiting for his coffee. and he was staring at me. Again, I am working. I am focused. I have my laptop and my notebook and I am working. I am occupado, okay? Like, don't talk to me. And this is a guy like 60 years old standing in line for his coffee and starts very loudly trying to talk to me. He said, "You shopping for a motorcycle?" And I didn't say anything because at this point, not only is it very obvious that he's trying to engage me in a conversation, again, that I don't want to participate in, but also that's obnoxious. That's super obnoxious. If someone makes a joke like that to me, I'm just like, I don't want a conversation with you. I know I'm not going to have an intellectual discourse with you because that wasn't even funny. That wasn't close to funny. I'm very obviously busy. I'm very obviously working, trying to make money. And you're making comments like that to try to engage me in a conversation because what you want matters more than what I want. What you want my attention. You want to hit on me. And what I want is peace and quiet and to focus on my work because that's important to me. But you don't care what's important to me. You only care what's important to you. And you feel, I'm talking obviously about this guy or to this guy, you feel like what you want matters more than what I want. What you feel matters more than what I feel. Again, same theme. So it gets even worse than this. He's not, okay, so he says his stupid joke and I don't respond to it. Then the guy, again, a young guy standing in the line next to him, tells him, "Oh, she didn't hear you." I'm a half a foot away from him and he yelled that. Of course I heard him. So this young guy, because they probably looked at each other like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And the guy's trying to make him feel good. So he encourages him to try again. It's very clear that I am ignoring him, but he encourages him to try again. So he does it again. "So you're looking for a motorcycle?" I said, "I heard you. I don't want to talk to you." And I didn't even look up because I was busy. And what does he do when I say that? Instead of being able to accept that, I don't want to talk to you. I'm not giving you any sign whatsoever that I want to talk to you. I have not looked at you. I have not made eye contact. I have not smiled at you. I'm very obviously busy. And if it was a man in my place, no one would talk to him. They would leave him alone and they would say, "That guy looks like he's doing something important." But because I'm a woman, it can't possibly be more important than a man hitting on me. So he storms out of the Tim Hortons and says, "That's why I don't talk to women." Good. Don't talk to women because clearly you can't emotionally handle anything because I don't owe you shit. I don't owe you shit. Okay? So again, I'm expected to prioritize his wants and feelings over my wants and needs and feelings. Okay? I have to be nice and polite and that was a really funny joke. It wasn't even something that I could pretend to laugh at. But I have to, in society, I'm expected to set aside my feelings and what I want in the moment and coddle a grown-ass 60-year-old man's feelings because he decided to interrupt me and make a stupid joke because he likes how I look, knows nothing about me, decides I'm the one basically because of what I look like, and because I'm not reciprocating, storms out of the Tim Hortons like a freaking child, okay? Like a toddler. Which tells me where his emotional state is, okay? That's his maturity level. So first we got the guy at the grocery store trying to hug me, then honking his horn at me, then showing up at the Tim Hortons and disturbing me and trying to get me to talk to him. Then another 60-year-old man who's trying to hit on me and I'm not receptive, so he throws a little baby Lala fit. Then it starts to get even worse. So a few hours later, I'm sitting in the parking lot in my van, and I'm watching something on YouTube, probably, I think, and I see these two guys walking beside the car that's parked beside me, and it looked like they were checking out the car, like, "Oh wow, look at this car." But the car was a Tesla. 60% of people around here, I'm throwing that number out here, but a lot of people out here drive a Tesla. So it's not a new thing, but they were acting like it's the first time that they saw a Tesla. So that was weird. And so part of me was watching them out of the corner of my eye to see what exactly they were up to, because I wasn't sure what was going on. And as a woman, we're hyper vigilant so that we don't get murdered. Okay? So I'm aware of their presence. I'm aware something weird is going on. Again, men in like their 60s. And then one of them turns around, and the way I'm parked this way, cats are in the back, so he couldn't see in the van from the front. He couldn't see the cats from where he was standing. He turns around and says, "How are the cats?" He didn't say, "Oh, look, you got cats." He said, "How are the cats?" You know what that means? It means he's been watching me. That's what that means. So I didn't answer him because, again, I'm done giving my energy away to people I don't want to give it to. And there's so many of these older men that just want my freaking attention. And it's not because it's me, it's because I'm a female. So again, I did not respond because, again, I am doing something. Okay? I am occupied. I don't have time for you because I have priorities that have nothing to do with you. So I can see in the corner of my eye, like he's like saying something, or I can hear like he's saying something to his friend. So his friend comes around to the other window, sticks his face right in the window, looks down at my cat, and starts talking about, "Oh, that's a nice cat." So I take out my phone, but unfortunately I was so frazzled that I didn't push record. I thought I did, but I didn't. But I stuck it in his face and I said, "F off." And he's like, "What?" I said, "F off." And he's like, Why? I'm a cat person." I'm like, "That's nice." He's like, Why? I said, "Because you are infringing on my personal space." Imagine, you're alone in your vehicle and some random stranger, even as a man, think about this. You're sitting in your vehicle and a random ass stranger comes and sticks their face in your car. Wouldn't that weird you out? Weirds me out. So when I told him to F off the second or something time, he backs up and leaves. But this one was like really crossing a line. And I was really worried at this point. But it was starting to get late and I was tired and I didn't feel like driving anywhere, even though my gut was like, "You need to get out of this area." I was like, I don't feel like it. Can I wait till tomorrow morning? And so I put it off, and maybe a couple hours later, this happened. Okay, I have a license plate. Do what you gotta do, sir. I will file for harassment because that's exactly what you're doing right now. Oh, okay. This guy, I'm parked. This guy's turning into the parking lot in the lane in front of me. And so there's traffic behind him. He turns out of the main lane, turns into the parking lot, and there's a car behind him also trying to turn. Well, he stops and he decides he wants to go backwards because he didn't go down the right lane. This parking lot was maybe a third full. There was no cars, okay? Like there were cars, but very few cars. So he decides that instead of going straight and then going around and then going where he wanted to go, that he wanted to back out. And because the guy behind him didn't back up because there were cars behind him, and also he didn't have to because he was going the right way, and possibly didn't even understand what this guy in front was trying to do. The guy in front starts swearing at them. It's super pissed off. Finally decides to go straight and zooms so fast around in the parking lot that I thought he was going to hit me. Finally parks beside me, gets out of his car, starts stomping by my van, looks towards my van, and goes, "Idiot!" I'm like, "Excuse me? You have a problem?" Like, I'm like, "Is this guy talking to me?" And he's like, "The other guy, didn't you see he was a freaking idiot? You didn't see that? He was supposed to back up." I'm like, what I saw was exactly what I just described to you guys. And so he gets so pissed off that I didn't agree with him and didn't see the version of reality where he was the hero and the victim and everybody else is stupid, that he's, oh, you're just an idiot too then. Gets in front of my car, takes out his camera, goes, "Oh, you don't even have a license plate." I'm like, "I'm from Quebec, genius." He goes to the back of my van and starts taking pictures of my license plate. I'm parked in a parking lot. What exactly are you trying to accomplish here? Then he goes around, goes into the store, comes back out, and on his way out, it looked like he was beelining, like storming to me, like angry storming, like he had been thinking about how bad he wanted to hit me. And I was like, "Oh crap." And I take my phone back out and I start filming him again. And he sees that I have the camera, and then so he turns and he goes, "Oh yeah," and he gives me the finger. Grown men, friends. Grown adult men, okay? With the emotional maturity of a toddler.